Hey guys, today I'll be checking out how foreigners make Finnish people uncomfortable. I want to watch this because I don't want to be that tourist that annoy other like the locals, even though you don't know that you're annoying them. So I don't want to be making that mistake. So let's watch this.
So you're now in Finland and you're ready to meet and connect with those Finns, but you don't want to make them uncomfortable, right? Because there are
Yeah.
10 things that you can do unintentionally and make Finns uncomfortable. Let's find them out. So what do you do if you see a Finn and you would like to talk to? You can do what the rest of the civilized world does and say, "Hi, how are you?" But if you say that to a Finn, this will happen. No. Just kidding, we are not that awkward. But the thing is that how are you is maybe not the best choice. Because in English, it's very common to say how are you just to greet a stranger and get the conversation
Yeah.
going. But the thing is that here in Finland, we see it as a question, not necessarily a greeting. So, in other words, some Finns may think that they have to start explaining themselves to you, a complete stranger, because we see it as a question. And on top of that, Finns can be quite blunt and honest. If you ask a complete stranger, how are you, you may get any of the following: I'm good. I'm okay. Absolute shit, just lost my job. Great, I just banged a prostitute. Actually, the last one
What?
happened to me. I asked this and I got this from my complete new neighbor. And don't get me wrong, we use how are you all the time, even in Finnish, but
Um.
it's good to understand the viewpoint how we address this how are you. And remember, it's absolutely always worth opening a conversation with a stranger in Finland. Because in the best case scenario, you could find your best friend for life. So don't overthink when meeting Finns. So educating yourselves on the basics of Finnish history.
I'm just not gonna say anything, even hi. I'll just walk straight, I guess. Not make any eye contacts or anything. I don't want to be making anyone uncomfortable. I mean, I am not. I always say hi, like to people. Like I walk by and then I like accidentally look at them and then they say hi. I would say hi too. Like normal people do. I mean, like here, like it's nice to be friendly. Being friendly is nice, but sometimes we just gotta know the limits, I guess.
It's always a good thing. We appreciate it. And you may already know that Swedish is still the second official language here. That's right, even the street signs are in both languages, Finnish and Swedish. And that's because we used
Really,
to belong to Sweden for like around 500 years until the beginning of 19th century. And we
I
still
did
have a lot
not
of
know
things
that.
lovely going on. We make jokes of each other, we tease each other, but hey, that's part of the neighbor Nordic relationship, right? And I guess this happens with any neighboring countries in the world. However, some Finns may still feel a little bit sensitive when it comes down to Sweden. For example, if you say stuff like, Swedes are sexier than Finns, Sweden is better in ice hockey, Swedish music is awesome. And note that this last one is not even a comparison, it's just a statement. And saying any of these may piss off some Finns and may get you the Finnish face of disapproval. Looks like this. By the way,
Nobody
don't
wanna
mix that up
be
with the Finnish smile, which looks
compared.
like this. As for me, I'm not really that sensitive. I know and I admit that Sweden is definitely better at some things. Let's just take one random example. For example, accumulating wealth. There was an article from Helsingin Sanomat comparing the average net worth development between Finland and Sweden. And in the year
336.
2000s,
Wow.
they were quite even, but now, 20 years later, the average Swedish household net worth is more than $300,000, and in Finland it's measly 168,000 US dollars. So the point is that be
It's like
careful when it
half.
comes down to comparing Sweden and Finland. Some Finns may get offended. So while in Finland, it's a good idea to pick up some Finnish
That's a good
language,
idea,
at least
yeah.
some essential phrases and words. It doesn't only help you to get by and get round, but also to connect with Finns. Especially you want to focus on the pronunciation. English speakers pronounce sauna sauna. Sauna is the pinnacle of Finnish culture. You want to pronounce that right.
And now I
Sauna,
want to say
not
that
sauna. There's
now.
no sewing going on. And I believe it was last year when there was this NHL games held in Tampere, and they were interviewing this one NHL player, American. They pronounced that Tampere, where the city where the game was held, Tampere. And don't get me wrong, we are not like super nitpicky about every small detail.
Oh my gosh. That's why when I reacted to Tampere, I was like, how do you pronounce it? Because I didn't know which one is the right pronunciation. I don't want to offend anybody. because I mispronounced the word. And then I also been pronouncing sauna. So yeah, I know that the correct pronunciation is sauna. I forgot sauna, sauna, sauna. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I know that's the right pronoun. I'm not sure if that's the way you pronounce it, but it's not sauna. Sorry, guys. I didn't know.
But the things that we appreciated, if you can just pronounce some important words in Finnish the correct way. Important words such as Kimi Räikkönen, Nokia,
Nokia.
Salmiakki, the Finnish
It's not
letters,
Nokia.
kahvi, coffee, jääkiekko, ice hockey, and so on.
It's
And you will
very hard.
instantly gain the Finnish respect if you can nail down the pronunciation. So how do you find the correct pronunciation? You can just use Google Translate. The translation function is, of course, still under development, but the pronunciation is still quite okay.
Kimi Räikkönen.
So you can just quickly use
Kimi
that to find out how
Räikkönen.
the things are pronounced. By the
Did
way, if
I
you're interested in
say it
learning
right?
Finnish but you don't know to start, check out my free Finnish for Dummies 5-day email course, link in the description. And of course, you are probably aware of the Finnish personal space. Important, especially in the public transport like buses, trains, and trams. And
I've
if you
heard
take a
this
look at
one
these photos, you can
too.
definitely see how Finns apply this personal space in public transportation. And if you look
Too
closely,
far.
people like to sit by themselves, and it's very rare to see two seats taken if there are other seats available. And heck, in trains, this applies to.
I mean, why would I sit next to another person if there is another seat that is empty, right? I actually don't like sitting next to a stranger because it's awkward, but it would be nice to have your own seat in the public transportation, if you know what I mean.
4 to 6 seats groups. So what Finns do is that they will try to find that group of seats where there's no one, and they will start to sit next to someone when it's absolutely necessary to do so. So if you sit next to a Finn when there's other seats available, that could be a potential Finnish nightmare. And I think the reason is that we are so used to sit on our own when there's space available. Even if you could sit next to no one, they may think that you are sitting next to them because of them. They may overthink like, hey, why is this person sitting next to me when there's other space available? And as I said, Finns will put extra effort to find that free pair of
Interesting.
seats or group of seats, even if they have to go all the way to the back. Another possible explanation is that the seats are a little bit cramped, especially for me. I'm a tall guy, like 194, 6'4", I guess, in inches. And
Very
especially in
tall.
buses, the leg space can be a little bit limited. So if there's no other choice than sitting next to someone, then you just have to do it, especially in the rush hours. But keep this in mind.
Yeah,
We Finns are a
I'll
bunch of
remember
friendly
this.
people, and we're actually quite open about different topics once we get to know you. But there is one topic that we don't even talk about with friends, and that is religion. And as a Finn, I was having a hard time
Ah,
coming up why. What are the reasons? Why don't we talk about it? And I actually found some good articles on this topic by the Finnish broadcast company, and there was two main reasons. And first of all, we Finns don't really talk about intimate topics or problems in general. And one of the reasons for this was the history we have had. For example, after the
that makes
wars, it
sense.
was encouraged just to move on rather than just dwelling on the past and the problems. Secondly, and the most interesting reason, in my opinion, is that the religion has become professional, according to the article.
Really?
So we think that professionals, like the church, is the one who should do the talking about religion. And there's a good concrete
That makes
example. Like
sense.
when we become like 15 years old, we go to this school called Rippikoulu. This is like the Finnish confirmation school, and
Confirmation?
it's
Huh.
around 80
Interesting.
hours of classes and activities regarding church and religion. I have also done that as a kid. So we believe that, okay, church and maybe schools also, when they teach religion, it's their job to do the teaching and talking about this topic. And as a Finn, I definitely agree, especially during my adult times, I have never spoken about religion with my friends, for example. And there was an additional interesting point that Finns believe in afterlife. Many Finns believe in afterlife, but we don't really like to talk about it. Pretty contradicting stuff, right? So, bringing up religious
Interesting.
topics can be awkward for Finns. And if you're a
Yeah,
religious
I
person, you like
guess.
to talk about it, there are such people also in Finland. So you just need to find, maybe attend the local church, find these groups of people who like to talk about it, and that's where you can find like-minded people. So when going out and about in Finland, you will notice that we have a lot of elevators and escalators. And fun fact, one of the
Ah,
biggest Finnish multinational companies, Kone, produces both of
Kone.
these. I guess we are somewhat proud of that company as well. But
I was gonna say con.
the thing is, we have also some rules when it comes down to riding escalators, and even some Finns mess this up all the time. There are some people who just block the entire way of the escalator,
Oh,
and
that
there are some
is
people who are in
annoying.
a hurry. They want to kind of boost their way up there or down there, but it's impossible because these people are blocking. And the thing is that because we are sometimes so awkward, we don't dare to tell like, hey, excuse me, can I get passed through? Even if our life depended on it. So when riding the escalator, always take the right side so that the people who are in a hurry can pass through on the left side. Pretty simple stuff, right? Let's
Well, I guess this one is a pretty basic manners. Like, everyone should know this already, but there's still a lot of people that is very annoying that still go to the left. I mean, sometimes it's like you don't really do it intentionally, but it happens to me, like, and I did not even know that I did it. So yeah. But now I always check if I'm in the right line.
say you're working with the Finn, they're doing great work, you give them a compliment like, hey, awesome job, man, well done. A typical Finnish reply may be, it was okay, wasn't 100%, could have done better. So the thing is that we Finns don't know how to handle compliments. And it's a bit sad because compliments are the simplest and most
Interesting.
straightforward way to express gratitude and even interest. But the thing is that we Finns are a little bit too shy and too reserved, and we always try to avoid boasting. Like boasting and bragging off is definitely not seen as good. And receiving a
Humble.
compliment may sometimes feel like, even if it wasn't. So should you avoid complimenting Finns altogether? Absolutely no. Please give compliments when it's reasonable to do so. And I think we Finns and Finnish culture definitely need more
Got it.
compliments. Please give them if there's a genuine reason to do so. Because I have also done it sometimes, and it definitely makes our day because we are not expecting those compliments. Same goes for
Uh-huh.
dating. If you see someone interesting you would like to get to know, compliment is a great way to open a conversation and express some interest. But hey, let's go back to the personal space. This
I do love compliments and I love complimenting people, and I think it just make people's day, or it makes my day when people say, "Oh, you look good today." And I was like, "Oh, thank you." Like, you don't expect it, but I don't like when people like, "You look good today," and then I look like shit. I think it's lying. It's very liar.
one more thing I want to talk about. So about the personal space, you probably learned that we Finns don't want to get too touchy early on because it may be seen as pushy. However, handshakes,
Ah,
fist bumps, bro fists, high fives, and even hugs actually come quite early into the play when getting to know someone. So let's say I'm gonna go into home party. One of the host or hostess is a lady. I have never met them before. I may do like a handshake when I meet them for the first time. Maybe I will have some kind of conversation, and when I'm gonna leave the party, it's completely fine to give them a hug, at least in my opinion. And even if the setting or the vibe or the tone wasn't romantic at all. And as an added note, I would never
interesting.
hug in professional setting, for example, after a business meeting, unless it's a Grand
Ah,
Prix
yeah, I
Christmas
guess that
party.
makes
But there's
sense.
one thing that we never ever do. And if you do this, you will upset Finns 6 ways from Sunday. And that is giving cheek kisses. Many
I was
countries
gonna
it's
say
completely
that.
fine to do like a, but
I
not in
don't like
Finland.
those
No,
either.
please don't do it. So it's just not a thing in Finland. We don't do it with friends, not with in-laws, not with partners, lovers, friends with benefits. No, no.
Friends with
So kissing
benefits.
itself is not a problem. For example, kissing on the first date completely fine, but giving this cheek is what we may like. In Finland, we have lots of lovely pastimes, such as sauna, ice swimming, going to the nature,
Oh,
and queuing. That's right, we Finns love to queue, whether it's a short or
I
long
do
one.
love
This happens
those
especially
two.
when a new department store is
Ways to
opening
get
up and
free
they will offer
pocket.
these freebie goodies. And Finns will always go line up like no tomorrow. And the thing is that we Finns
Really?
are quite an obedient bunch. Even if there's a lot of people in the queue, we actually are there in a reasonable organized manner and we don't jump in the
Wow.
queue either. But if someone jumps the queue, the hell will break loose. Helvetti, takaisin
Feel
Vimo
that.
kerällä, mitä sä tuolla? Because if someone jumps the queue, that's when Finns are at their second most talkative mode. What's the first talkative mode? That's when they're drunk. So if you're
That's so funny when he said that Finnish people doesn't like chick kisses. I mean, I don't really do it with people I'm not close with, but I feel like it's nice to do it, but only to your friends, like to my friends, just like few friends, but only to the close one. In my family, I hug them, but no kisses, chick kisses, but just friends. But yeah, it's funny. And then did he just said that they fall in line like there's no tomorrow, like for freebies, like free stuff? Oh my gosh, they are really, really patient. I don't think I can do that. When I see like a very long grocery line, I was like, not today. I don't like waiting in line. So yeah, very interesting. And those are really good tip to know. And when I ever get to visit Finland one day, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.